Hello, my name's Tom Walker. Welcome to this podcast, which I'm making on behalf of the Royal Mersey Yacht Club. And with me today is John Heldt, who's a totally blind sailor. John, how are you?
I'm fine, I'm great. It's a nice day today, a good day. It's hot, warm.
And it would have been a good day for sailing.
Yeah, it would have been, it would have been nice to have not had this lockdown and, sailing.
You mentioned the lockdown. We should point out firstly that we are socially distanced, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're outside, and as John says, it's a lovely day. Now, just one other point before we continue. If you want to find out more about opportunities for visually impaired people to go sailing in the north of England, the best person to contact is David Owen on 07793 543 529. That's 07793 543 529, and I'll give you that number again at the end of this podcast. So, John, tell me first of all, how did you get into sailing?
I started doing tall ship sailing. A friend, when I was going to a day centre, it was 97, but I couldn't go then, so it was 98 that I actually went, because I was involved in a Lord Mayor's float around Liverpool, which was a ship theme. But then I got involved in the tall ships, which I've done 15 of, travelling around Britain. And also to the Canaries. Went for a sail from Liverpool all the way to the Canaries, and I was out there for 2.5 months, and it was great. You pull, you do, you get into 4 different groups, port and starboard, and you get to learn all the technology, and it's great. You've got to be a team to move a tall ship. One of the friends, Mike Scanlon, he told his brother Pat, and he told me about the sailing over in Rock Ferry, the Liverpool sailing. So I got involved in that, and I've not looked back, and that's been about 10 years now. I go out to the Anglesey to do the Menai Straits, and we do racing. We won one year, and I've got the cup in front of me. It's good. They've won cups, they've won trophies, and it's enjoyable. I go out to the to Coniston to sailing and water sports there, and there's people who enjoy it, because it's not just all about sailing. There's social events as well, like getting involved to raise money, fundraising, or to go out at Christmas times with the crew, and to keep in touch, and it's great. You're
making my job easy for me here, John. If I could just let you speak all day, probably. Was it the tall ships then, would you say, that really gave you the bug? And if it was, what was it about tall ships that gave you the sailing bug?
Yeah, it was the tall ships that gave me the bug. I probably did have it from years, because my mum and dad used to take us off to places, and they'd have one of those blow-up canoes and dinghies that we'd have paddles and go along. Even when I travelled to India, I'd get on boats and use the paddles. I travelled around India before I knew I was visually impaired blind, and I've travelled quite a lot, so the sailing, that got me back into doing it, and it was really good. You got to get to learn at first. You sort of like, oh, is this going to be for me? And then once you start doing it, and you heave to the slowest person's like 2.6, and then you get to work in the mess rooms, you get to climb. I've climbed up to the top of the mast, touching the button, been on the yards to let out sails and hauling sails, and we stop in port, harbours, you do the mooring lines, you bring in the sails, you let out, and you bring in, it's good.
So you were fully sighted at one time?
Well, as far as I knew, but I probably was always visually impaired, because what I saw then, I thought that's what everybody saw.
So as a sighted person then, you also went sailing?
Yeah, I did some sailing, like with brothers and sisters when I was younger, going down to the south of England and that,
It's very much in your blood, isn't it?
Yeah.
So moving forward then to about 10 years ago, and you get involved with the Royal Mersey Yacht Club. Tell me what your role has been. What did you do when you first started, and what are you doing now?
Well, I mainly do the jib sails, which is at the stern of the boat. What I actually do, we pull in because when there's ropes on the end of the sails, which are called sheets, and when we need to do a tack, which is a turn around, we have to pull it in. The skipper will say ready about, so when he's turning about, you have to either pull in or let go of those ropes so that it'll pull it tight or loosen it. The boat, the ship will turn about, will turn around, because you don't go from A to B on a straight line. You've got to do little turns each time.
And when you're on board, do you kind of get the sense that you're fully participating in the work that everybody else is doing?
Yeah, because the skipper will helm and he'll tell us, and we know which position we're on because there's a right and a left side port and starboard side. It's probably logic, because when one of them's got the holding tight onto the rope and he says ready about, then you automatically know that it's you to let go.
And I imagine it involves a lot of teamwork.
Yeah, it is a team, because there's like a skipper and a first mate, and who are sighted, and then usually 2 or 3 visually impaired blind people in the boat to do the other work.
Tell me about racing. What's that like?
Well, every time we go out, they have a list of where we were going to go, like maybe to down to Bromborough or to the Dingle. So we've got to go around different buoys. The skippers have the list, the map of what the order of the day is, and they say we've got to go around this buoy twice, or the different colours. So we'll go with their instructions and we'll go around, and different times it could be pulling the boat so it's up vertically in the water, so almost, and trying to get a win.
You mentioned earlier that you won a race.
Yeah, it was in Anglesey. We went around Puffin Island. We were at the back of the race, and eventually we started coming forward, and then one of the guys he's a experienced sailor in his boat, John Smith, he took a wrong tack, a wrong turn, so we were able to go on that and take it. But our skipper then, Tom, he kept saying carry on, we haven't finished. He could easily do a tack and come back at us, and we did, and you could hear the energy, the atmosphere from people shouting and screaming from the banks for us to get there, to get the win, because John Smith always seems to win the races.
So how did you feel when you won? I imagine you were pretty ecstatic, weren't you?
Oh yeah, it was great, because when we got off and we got to the clubhouse, they showed a rerun of the race for those who could see it. And like people were coming over and shaking hands with me and giving me the high fives and congratulating all our team, the 4 of us who were on board. It was amazing. It was great.
It does sound like an amazing moment. Can you remember what you were actually doing on the boat? Can you talk me through at least some of the work that you were doing on the yacht itself?
I was holding on to the main sheet, which is the rope that holds the main sheet. So and I had to pull it tight and put it around me knee and me leg and pull it. And Tom, he was quite aggressive, our sailor, quite animated to say, don't let go of that. And the waves, I could feel the pain of the waves on my leg because I had it wrapped around, and even pulling down on my arms as well, and then I'd let it go a little bit when we did attack and pull it back, and you could feel the energies, the whole, the weight on my leg. It was, I thought I was going to get pulled up into the air at one point.
So Tom the skipper was really barking out the orders, was he?
Yeah, and that's what we need. That's what you need. To win races. It's good.
Now I've got to confess, John, I'm very much a man for terra firma. I like dry land. So what would you say to people like me who may be a little bit nervous, particularly visually impaired people, a bit nervous of going on the water, going in a yacht? What would you say to them?
Well, the crew are all there on hand. Even people, even other members from the club who, you know, it's like a team, it's like a family. They're all there to help and make sure everyone's okay. And then when we get down onto the jetty to the side of the boats, they'll say they'll give you instructions when to get onto the boat, and everybody on the boat will be, so it's like, here's my hand, you know, and tapping your hand so you could get hold of it, and then they'll say step over or put your leg down or get down, there's a box here, you know, and they'll be tapping it like a noise, like you know, and sort of like guide us and tell us where to sit, hold on to us, you know, and we'll have buoyancy aids, we'll have all the weather gear as well for, you know, for the safety, you know, and they've got radios for in case we get stuck with our boats, if anything happens, to ring for the jibs, you know, and when we get on, we get stuck in, we get to you know, they'll help us on, one of the sighted crew will get on, and then the other one will help us up, or others, and we'll get on and we stand on the side of the boat, and then we wait for their instructions, and we can undo the mainsail, and we can get down and help undo and put the sails together, you know, and it's good, it's great.
Listening to you, anybody would be able to hear your enthusiasm, your real passion for sailing. It's obviously an activity that you really enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
I guess you've been missing it during lockdown.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's like just the buzz of getting over there to, you know, as soon as we, you know, when we get to Rock Ferry, or some of the crew will probably pick us up and we go there and get onto the boat, yeah, you know, and we were supposed to go to Anglesey for a regatta, which is the races out there, but we can't, and it's sad, you know.
You've really missed it, haven't you? I can tell.
Missing it, you know, it's just like, I'm, you know, sitting in here twiddling thumbs, you know, not knowing what to do, or...
I mean, I can't see the expression on your face, but I imagine it's one of joy, but also frustration.
It is frustration, you know. It's sad that, you know, and I'm hoping I haven't lost any of the, you know, the knowledge of how to put the sails up, or, you know, to pull the jibs, or to, you know, to be there to crew, or, you know.
Do you need to be quite fit to be a sailor?
No, not really. I mean, it helps, but like probably just need the attitude, the enthusiasm to be on board, to be with the others, to get involved, to interact.
And there's no doubt you've got plenty of enthusiasm. I can just tell that by the way you're talking. I imagine as well you've got some enthusiasm for the social side of sailing. Tell me about that.
Social side, yeah. A few of them, like Rob Owen or Dave Owen, they've organised Christmas nights out, and we've gone to places like the Crown Pub or a blind school in Hardman Street for Christmas meals, and it's great to be around, probably seeing everybody in a different light and talk to them, you know, without buoyancy aids or sailing gear on, and it's really good, you know, and also we've been over for radio programmes.
I guess you have a few pints as well after you've been sailing, do you?
Well, you're a drunken sailor, you know what I mean.
But you have a couple, do you?
Yeah.
So social side's good as well?
Yeah, the social side, like in Anglesey, we'll stay over in the Bangor residence. We were in the Menai Pass, but like we've moved to Anglesey halls of residence, and we'll go down into the town, mainly to have food and drink in some of the places there, yeah, and, you know, because you can't just be stuck in your rooms or do that, you know, after the sailing, or when some of the other sighted guys will invite us to some of their holiday home parties, you know, so it's good.
What would you say to any visually impaired people listening to this now who are thinking, well, maybe I'll go sailing, maybe I won't, I'm not really sure? What would you say to them?
I would say, come and have a go, you know, try it. You've got to try it for at least one time, because you don't know if you're going to like it or not, you know, and if you don't even go and you sit there thinking, oh, I'll do it one day, you might end up regretting it, and then the chance might pass you by, and you might go, I wish I'd done that, you know, because it's nice to be out there on a boat, on the water. You know, it's the essence, the goodness of just being out with the fresh air and the sea. You know.
Well, if there's one man I've ever met who's enthusiastic about anything, it's John Heldt, who's totally passionate about sailing. It's been great to talk to you. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, it's been great to be able to do this interview. Yeah.
Now, if you've been inspired by anything John has to say, then here's that number again that I gave you at the start of this podcast. Call David Owen on 07793 543 529 for more information on opportunities for blind people in the north of England who want to go sailing. That number, one final time, 07793 543 529. From me and John Heldt in a very sunny but rather noisy Liverpool. Speak to you soon.